Welcome to Barbecue Catering Smarts, the go-to podcast for barbecue operators looking to grow and streamline their catering operations. Every episode, we're serving up expert advice, proven systems, and flavorful strategies straight from top leaders in the barbecue and catering world. So fire up the pit. It's time for another sizzling episode.
Hello again. I'm Michael Attias, your host of Barbecue Catering Smarts, and today's guest is Linda Bogach, Catering Director at Central BBQ, with hands-on experience building and running high-volume barbecue catering operations. Linda helps Central BBQ deliver the same crave-worthy smokehouse experience off-premise, whether it's corporate lunches, weddings, or large-scale events. From streamlining ordering and execution to creating a guest experience that keeps clients coming back, she brings a practical, operator-minded perspective on what it takes to grow a barbecue catering program the right way, and we're excited to have her on the show today. But before we get started, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsor, Caters End Catering Software. They help barbecue restaurants turn their catering chaos into calm. Discover why barbecue restaurants trust Caters End to save them time and increase catering sales. Go to catersend.com and sign up for a walkthrough of the software. Now let's dive into this episode of Barbecue Catering Smarts. Linda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Michael?
Great. Good to see you again. I know we live in each other's backyards. I'm out of town today, but not too far from each other. I like to start off with an icebreaker question. Give me a number between 1 and 300.
21.
21. What makes me laugh is... What makes you laugh?
Oh, that's a hard one. Everything. I find everything funny.
Do you have a favorite TV show?
Seinfeld was always one of my go-to laughs.
Have you watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes, that's a good one too. Yeah.
So are you more Team Seinfeld or Team Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Seinfeld. For sure.
I'm definitely more Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
It's something I relate to a little bit more. I have a friend that reminds me of Larry David, and it's just, it's...
My brother-in-law looks like Jerry Seinfeld.
Does he?
So, yeah, yes, very much so.
Well, we should let my friend and your brother-in-law meet. So let's take a step back here with Central BBQ, and definitely some Memphis roots we can talk about at some point. I know the guys who started. I went to high school with the Blondes family.
Yes, you did.
And worked for the Peltz family at Corky's and had a Corky's franchise. So there's some connection there. How did you get started in catering sales?
I actually am a late bloomer. I did restaurant management for many years, bartended, raised my children, and I was watching Undercover Boss on TV, and I saw Moe's Southwest Grill had a catering department, and I was a restaurant manager at a restaurant in Nashville. And the catering director happened to come in, and I begged her for a job. And it took me 6 months to get hired, and I was catering director for Moe's Southwest Grill. And that's how I met you, Michael.
Yeah, I remember. And it was, God, I can't think of her name right now. Blonde. Is that who
Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Worked for Scott Porter. So how long were you with Moe's?
Until the pandemic.
Okay.
And then the whole world kind of fell apart.
That's for sure. So what restaurant, just out of curiosity, what restaurant did you work at before you ended up in catering sales?
It was Outback.
Okay. Very good. Great brand. Very good brand. So I'm guessing you've never sold before you got the catering sales position.
Well, I worked for Texas Roadhouse when they opened in my town, Hendersonville, and I did some local store marketing for them. So when I approached the catering sales job, I kind of approached it as like a local store marketing job because I felt that's the best way to increase sales. So
did you have any, like, I've known you for quite a long time, and you're definitely, there's two types of catering sales reps. There's what I call the farmers. The phone rings, they take orders, they have the relationships, and they increase the sales. Then you have the hunters that go out there and make things happen. And you're definitely more of a hunter. You know, you got that killer instinct to go build sales. Where did that come from?
My dad.
Was he in sales?
Yes.
What did he sell?
Automotive stuff. He was in the automotive business. He sold franchises for a big automotive company for years, and Yeah.
it's very interesting. One of my mentors says talks about a thing, the concept called "what you hear at the top of the stairs." So if you think
Heard that.
about if you think about parents are downstairs talking, whether it's a dinner party, cocktail party, or just parents talking, the kids are at the stairs and they're eavesdropping. And so whether it's eavesdropping the top of the stairs or the dining room table or a car ride, I'm sure you learned a lot from your father. You can't be around a salesman and not have that in your DNA and not pick up some of those things.
Yeah, and I was raised in a family that my dad pretty much led the dinner table conversation, and we kinda just sat there and listened, so I didn't like it very much, probably why I talk so much now, but it definitely helped me learn the ways of sales and how to make friends and influence people. I read a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the reading. You said something. God, now I just slip. You said something about your dad and talking and learning something, and now I can't remember what it was. And I'll come back to it. What books did you read that
The
influenced?
the what that influenced people, I think my dad gave that to me when I was, on the younger side. And just all the normal sales books, I'm very bad with remembering names, I apologize for that, it's not my forte.
Yeah,
But,
what?
all the basic, ones that teach you the basic sales techniques, and then, of course, I've tweaked everything.
Yeah, of course you have to make it your own. I think what you're referring to is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence
Yes, that's it,
Neighbors or
thank you.
People. And I remember reading that book, and the one line that I love out of this book is be more interested than interesting.
Very, very true.
Ask people about themselves. They'll talk and they'll think you're the best conversationalist, even if you say nothing about yourself.
Mhm. That was the hardest thing for me to learn because 'cause I'm a talker, and I was never a very good listener, and that's something that I've really grown, from catering, sales, and marketing is that it's really important to build those relationships.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something that I see across all boards, there's a lot of little gems. We haven't even really gotten into barbecue per se, but I can't tell you how many people have called to sell me something or I have a meeting and I tell them exactly what I want, right? Like I'm a buyer, I'm not a shopper, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't like to fish, I like to catch. So it's the same thing. I tell a salesperson exactly what I want and they're selling me on something else. And it's like, dude, I told you exactly what I want. If you have it, I'll buy it today. Like I'm not playing games. I don't have to go through a committee. I don't have to get it approved. I'm telling you what I want. If you have what I want, I'll buy it. If you don't, and um, you know, I don't know why people don't do more of that. What are some
Be
of the
direct.
yeah, what are some of the big takeaways you got from your dad, like some lessons on selling from your dad?
I would just say being honest and upfront. Just he always made friends with everybody. He's always the funniest guy in the room. I'd say be memorable.
Well, you definitely have
Biggest thing.
that lovable personality. So I'm sure
Thank you.
that has definitely helped you garner, garner trust with people. So when you left Moe's, I'm assuming you had a lot of great success selling catering there. Great product. I mean, you've got to have a great product to sell. Without a
Yeah.
great product, you can get a lot of first time clients, but you're not going to get repeat. Um, when did you start at Central?
So I had about a 2-year period where I couldn't find work. Age, also hospitality industry was kind of not recovering that quickly. And I was fortunate enough to be approached by someone that I had worked for with Moe's that had taken on the role of leadership at Barbecue and told them he couldn't do it without me, and, brought me in, and I created the catering package from the very beginning, all the direction, all the procedures, but the first thing I did was call you, my
You did.
within the first week I got the job, I said, "We need software, can't do this without it," and I thought of you because Caterzen is just such a easy no-brainer.
We appreciate that. So let's talk
It's
about
free.
For people listening,
Mhm.
that want to build a catering program, and we're just going to take it from A to Z because you went in there from A to Z. Even if they have this, it's still a good primer. So you came to us and you say, I need good software. And, a lot of people, they don't understand the importance of good systems, right? Like you can't keep up with customers on a piece of paper if you're trying to build a business. And, you have to
Very
have,
true.
and you have to look professional and you need to be able to access stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't look at that in catering out of a restaurant. They go, oh, when I get bigger, I'll need it. But you don't say, I'll buy a point of sale system when I have 200 covers a day. I'll just do it on a piece of paper and hand a piece of paper to the kitchen and have them make the food. Or, you know, I'll I'll buy a smoker when I have enough business. In the meantime, I'll just put a big green egg in the back and cook on the big green egg. But it's like pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. You can't be half pregnant. But
Exact
let's talk about some of the basics. So you go into Central Barbecue, and these just for clarification, the Blondes family still owns their stores in Memphis, and then the Wilson family expanded or bought the rights, and so they own the one in Nashville. So it's sort of a
Right,
different.
the Blondes family still owns the original, but the Wilson family owns the others in Memphis and the one in Nashville.
I got you. So
Right.
what did you do? You know, what did you come in? What was besides calling me? What's the first thing you did? To start a catering program and build a
Made
program.
sure that I had staff,
Okay,
and Joe had brought in a couple of people that we also worked with Moe's, so I was very blessed to have a staff that I knew I could trust immediately.
nice.
And then we sat down and we created a catering menu. And I said, "It's only gonna work if I have a CRM to work with, and we need to get a software pack that we can get everything done together."
So
And I was still connected even though it had been a few years, so I just went out there and hit the pavement again.
let's wait to get to the pavement part, but
Oh,
let's talk.
sorry.
No, 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 that's okay. Let's talk about the menu.
Mhm.
Any tips for creating a barbecue catering menu or a catering menu in general?
Yeah, look at everybody else's. I know that that sounds crazy, but you don't wanna
No,
be the cheapest and you don't wanna be the most expensive, and you wanna make sure that you are keeping your price points in line and that you can execute the food that you're gonna sell, that it's gonna carry well. Like, we don't offer french fries or chicken tenders, and a lot of restaurants do, but those don't carry well.
right.
So we
It,
make sure that the product's gonna be perfect so that we can always have happy customers.
it's very interesting. You talk about look at your competitors' menus, and it could be a
Mhm,
direct competitor, right? Like in Nashville, and look at
mhm.
who's in the barbecue space, who are the players. You've got peg leg porkers, you've got Corky's, you've got Barbecue, you have Wits, you've got Central, you've got Edley's. I mean, those are some of the bigger names in
Yeah,
barbecue. I'm assuming. So, what are they doing? What are they offering? I would even tell you to go to the point to deconstruct how much they're giving. If they're charging $15 and everyone else is charging 20, is there a difference in the quality, how they make it, how they hold it? Is there a difference in the portion size? And you do have to be charging what the market will bear, but also for your perceived value of your concept. So, for instance,
exactly.
I'll use, because I've helped people engineer menus. I use hamburgers. Let's say you're going to do hamburger catering. Well, if I say McDonald's hamburgers, you're thinking low price point, low quality. If I say Outback, you're thinking higher quality, higher price point. And if I say Morton's, a Ruth's Chris burger, you're thinking super high quality, super high price. And so where does your brand stack up in the mix, right?
Yeah,
In Nashville, Wits is known for low price barbecue. And you've got somebody Central, Edley's, Peg Legs higher up on the food chain. So you need to see where you fit in with those guys because you might be same price a little bit higher, but you can't be 50% higher if you're perceived as the same
right.
type of thing.
And portion size is very important.
Talk about that.
Yeah, very, very important. You have to make sure that you're giving the people a decent amount of food, but not over serving them either.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And I think we did a good job with that. In the full service events, we did all you can eat,
yeah,
which technically, if you're portioning properly, it's all they can eat anyway, because if you run out of food, you're going to look like a fool. So you might as well call it all you can eat and charge a little bit more for that perceived I'm not going to run out of food. So that was something that worked really well for us. And we had a guarantee with that. If you ran out of food, we give you your money back,
but
which we never ran out of food. And then on the drop off stuff, we always said it was enough for 1.5 good sized sandwiches a person. And, the analogy that I used to use, God, I'm reminded of I haven't been on the phone in years, is most men will go through most women will go and have one sandwich. Most men will come back and maybe have a second sandwich, so 1.5 is enough. And then so they have a perception like, okay, that makes sense. I don't want to limit, if people want a second sandwich, I want to have, not for everybody to have two sandwiches, but whatever. Did you structure a menu that was more per person or more a
yes,
la carte?
more it's a buffet per person, and we're very structured portion sizes, so it's easy to play around with. And I think that that's really, really important when you're working in catering, to be transparent with your portion sizes and how many people it's going to feed. Because there's nothing worse than them having a ton of food left over. That's worse, almost as bad as running out because they feel ripped off.
Yeah, you want a little food left over because
Yes.
that way some of the people at the company can take home and feed their family for dinner. That's always nice. You don't want to be scraping the last spoon of beans out of the pan, but I agree with you. You don't want, 5 pounds of pork left at the end of a
Yeah.
luncheon.
One of the biggest issues with barbecue that I find is brisket because everybody wants brisket and it's heavier in weight and it's more expensive. And they never want to go for the extra. And it took me a long time to convince people that if you order 2 meat buffet and it's half brisket and half pork, you're gonna run out of brisket.
Right.
And so I've worked with people to tweak that, and that's the thing with barbecue, that you need to really understand the difference in weights and the difference in portions and what people are gonna eat more of. You learn you don't need a lot of mac and cheese, you don't need as much barbecue beans, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. You know,
And
it
it's just tweaking it to make sure that the customer is so happy. That's
you
the main
you
thing.
you know, you talk about something and you haven't named it, but I'm going to name it. I call it authenticity in selling. Because if you think about old school salespeople, were known as selling you stuff you didn't need, right? Knocking on the door and selling you a vacuum cleaner or selling you aluminum siding or a used car or whatever. Very seedy sales persona if you think about old school
Yes.
selling. But if you think about new school selling, people go, "Oh, you're a great salesman." I go, "I'm a terrible salesman. I'm a good educator and a good consultant." And so
Good marketer.
yeah, well, I'm okay, but the key is I remember when I sold catering and even when we sell software, I had a meeting with somebody who had a bakery the other day, and I told them, "Look, this is what you can count on us for and we'll do well, and this is what you can't count on us for based on what you're telling me. If you can work with this, we're a good fit. Don't come to me thinking you're going to change. It's not." And the same thing is sometimes you have to tell people when you're selling catering, "Look, you want to go half pork, half beef, you're going to run out of brisket. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
if you were my best friend, I'd tell you order 20% more on the brisket side and have a little bit more because the brisket's going to, it's going to melt and it's going to be gone in 2 seconds." And it's true, a pound of brisket doesn't go as far as a pound of pork.
No,
And
definitely not.
as much as you want it to, I don't know if it's less dense or what it is per whatever, but anyway, I've earned a lot of business by underselling people and also shooting them straight and say, "Look, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It's a waste of money." And I think when you have that authenticity, people want to do business with you and they want to refer you because you're trustworthy. There's nothing worse than you feel like somebody's taking advantage of you.
I hate that. So I agree 100%.
Okay, so you've got the packages. Do y'all do more full service events or drop off events?
We do a lot more drop-off events, and we do a lot of box meals, and, so I didn't say this on TV. Anyway, We do help a lot of these sports teams that come in, and we do the individual meals. Like, I fed LSU basketball this past weekend,
Oh, fun.
and they had 70 individual meals, and they didn't want catering. They needed, like, a platter for each person. So I had to go in and do open food on Caterzen for every single one, type in exactly what they wanted and their name. It took me forever, but they were thrilled, and Caterzen made it easy. I mean, it was time consuming, but I don't know how I would have done it without.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to have, well, you don't have to have flexibility, but if you want to be successful in catering, you want to have some level of flexibility.
You have to take care of people, give
Yeah,
them what they want. I mean, there's so much competition out there. If you don't give people what they want, they're gonna go to the next person.
yeah. I
And they
mean,
remember when you go out of the way for them, they remember.
yeah. I mean, I think you have to stay in your wheelhouse and
Yeah.
what you're good at. You can't. You're not going to put caviar on a barbecue platter,
No.
but if they want individual meals for athletes and they're
Like,
gonna
we don't have boxed meals with ribs, but they wanted ribs and they wanted plates with 8 ounces of meat, not 5 ounces of meat.
they're athletes. They're
Yeah.
gonna go through a
Gotta
lot of
feed them.
food. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they paid for it. It wasn't,
Oh, yeah.
you didn't give it to them for free and you made a good profit on it. I'm not a big fan of individually boxed meals, but I get it. I
Me
don't think the
either.
food travels as well. Now, if you're doing a deli sandwich all day long, barbecue, it's a little more difficult.
We've got it down. Honestly, like, I've been to events where I've eaten a box meal and they're still really fresh. I don't know how, but they really stay the way we package it. Yeah.
So let's say that I came to work for you today and you were going to train me on how to sell catering, right?
Mhm.
Um, no sales experience, no coursework. What are the first two, three? Walk me through, some of the things you would teach me to be successful and,
Okay.
you
The
know,
number 1 is you have to work in the restaurant for a few days and learn the menu.
okay.
And then I would have you shadow the catering person to see how they put together catering orders and study the catering menu. And then I would have you go on few deliveries. And then I would take you out and show you how to talk to people about it and
Okay.
then bring
So
it all together. But training on Cater Zen is super important.
Okay, so let's walk through. Okay, I
Okay.
I understand the menu. I've
Mhm.
been out on caterings. I've seen it set up. I understand a day in the life of the operations part, right? Because you
Mhm.
do have to understand how operations work because what you sell, operations has to deliver. You can't oversell it, you can't undersell it, right? Because if you promise the world and operations goes out there and screws it up because you're overselling it, you make everybody look bad and you lose. We're not in the one catering business, right?
No.
It's in the repeat catering. That's where the money's at, right? Even if you have big events, it's all in the repeat. So let's talk about prospecting. I'm new to Nashville. You and I just opened up a barbecue restaurant, and you go, Michael, this is how we're going to build our catering business. Now you were lucky you had connections at your
Yes.
last place, so a
But I
Rolodex.
didn't with Moe's. I didn't with Moe's. I started from the ground up.
Okay, so let's take those lessons. What do you do? What do you do? How do you what kind of list of people are you looking for? What are you doing? Let's walk everybody through because I think people leave a lot of money on the table by not hustling catering. I hustled it
Yes.
because I knew that was significant revenue for the restaurant, which equaled significant profit because overhead's high, labor's there. It doesn't take anything to run $2,000 or $3,000 through the register before
And
you
it's
open in the morning.
guaranteed sales.
Right.
Guaranteed sales.
And it's not location dependent. You could drive 10 miles to drop off the food. People aren't driving 10 miles for lunch to come to your restaurant. They're just, unless they're passing through or you have a really, really good draw, I'm not driving 10 miles to go eat lunch.
That's very key what you said because it's very true. There's no reason you can't deliver and bring people. And then they may drive miles because they had you at lunch at work and said, "Oh my god, that food is
Yeah, or though, when I'm
amazing."
going to that part of town, you live in Hendersonville, I live in East Nashville, it could be someplace in
Right.
Franklin. Hey, I'm going to be close to Franklin. I had this food at Linda's, the daughter's party, and now I want to eat there.
Exactly.
Or, hey, I'm having something for my kid. I'm going to get them to cater because the food was great at Linda. So it's definitely cross promotional. So where do you go start building a list and going
The
after people?
first thing that you do is you do a search of all the businesses that have more than 10 employees in a 3-mile radius of your store.
And
It's a great way to start.
are you buying a list? Are you
No, you just Google it. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to spend any money.
okay, so I
I've never in my life paid for lead, that I will tell you. I've always generated myself.
so you've never paid
There's
for a prospecting list, you've just
no,
okay,
never,
great.
never.
So I go out and I find 100 businesses that have 10 or more employees,
Mhm.
right? Where do you go from there?
I personally like to go visit them, but today's day and age with security the way it is, it's not easy to cold call. So you start off on the phone, you try to get the decision maker, you introduce them, and you ask if you can come by with some samples and some coupons.
Okay.
Okay. If you can try to get away with just dropping by with some coupons and stuff, but if you have to bring samples, you bring samples. The other thing that you do is you put a fishbowl at your cash register and you ask everybody to drop a business card in because anybody coming in your business is more likely to cater with you. And you make sure you utilize those leads. Those are
Okay.
all really, those are hot leads. Those
There's
aren't even
yeah, because they know your food, and if they like
exactly.
you, they're going to tell you who to. Do you look up the name of the decision maker? Or you just call them the receptionist?
I try to look it up, but I found that there's always someone that answers the phone and they are mostly going to be nice and give you the information. It's a lot faster. I've tried it both ways. The
And
calling seems to be better.
do you look for like I know I would look for head of human resources when I was going
That's
after
usually who
bigger.
I ask for.
Yeah,
I usually ask for human resources or event planners, depending upon what kind of business it is.
yeah,
But the thing with food is that every business and every person is a potential client. It's not just one industry. So at the beginning, you want to do a broad kind of thing, and then you might want to find, okay, well, my food people, the construction people love this, so maybe I'm gonna go for that kind of business, or it really depends on your demographic. But
yeah. I think to your point, I think you've got two markets. You have the broad, like 10 or more employees, right? And then you have niches because you know that every year in May in Nashville, there's thousands of kids graduating high school. How can I get
exactly.
those people? So I want to tap back into the thing you said about the fishbowl. So
Mhm.
what we did when I had my restaurant is the challenge with the business card is you don't have any qualifying information, right? So you have to call, is it a State Farm agent and there's 20 people in the office or there's two people in the office, right? We had people fill out a form that they had to tell us where they worked, who was in charge of ordering catering, how many people, how often, and they could win a free, uh, uh, we had a catering giveaway for 10 for, catering for 10 for their office, right? And so we were doing this manually. And again, and we would send everybody a letter. One person would win, everybody would get second prize, which is free dessert. And we would, send it to the catering decision makers. So that was more manual, but giving you a little heads up of what's coming down the pike with our new CRM and Caters in later this year. We're building QR codes um, that you can put on a sign, like register to win a free catering giveaway for 10 people in your office, scan QR code, and then it takes them to their phone. It's a mobile landing page that they can fill
Mhm.
out the information while they're in line to pick up food or sitting at the table. Um, and then it ends up in a marketing sequence where you can automatically market to them and it fires off emails and does calls. So what you're
Can you
doing,
merge it into your CRM at your
yeah, it,
store?
it, it comes into the CRM. And now you have a prospecting list, right?
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is you don't have to do any manual labor, right? You don't have to key in
Yeah.
the cards. You don't have to fire off a sequence. You could set that up pretty much automatically, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to save you time. But if you think about where else do you want to collect qualified names, let's just take the city of Nashville. Well, if you do a lot of weddings and rehearsal dinners, you go to bridal shows, do some sampling. Isn't that a great way to put out a QR code, register to win a free rehearsal dinner valued at, $600,
Right.
put your name in, and then you can market to all those brides about the rehearsal dinners. chamber functions. You go and you meet 200 people at the Williamson County Chamber or the Sumner County Chamber. All those people could send you business, right? Because even if their office doesn't order, they go to churches or members of organizations. Everybody, if they don't order catering, they influence or they know where catering is. So there's a lot of
Right.
that. And in that, one of the things I'm most excited about is um, graduation parties.
Yeah.
So, where do you get a list of all the parents of high school seniors? Well, you can go to mailing list brokers, and maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. But your daughter went to Beach High School with Jillian, who works with me, so I
Yeah.
know you're familiar with Beach. Well, everybody who's ever had a kid who's a senior in high school, what do? They have college open houses, right? Like, here's financial aid. We have colleges, just 2 or 3 evenings where the parents are going to come in and you're trying to figure out where your kid's going to go to school, how you're going to pay for it, things that you need to know. Well, why wouldn't Central go out and said, "Hey, we want to bring dessert to Beach High School for the parent, senior night, whatever." And then you have the QR code, register to win a free graduation party. And now you've registered all the people who are interested in Central Barbecue. You got a whole database of those people.
Yeah.
So come the spring, you can start bombarding them and saying, "Hey, we were at the senior open house. And if you want to do something for your kids, we got this going on," and low hanging fruit. And so you could go to Hendersonville High School, Gallatin High School, you know,
Yeah.
3, 4 high schools in that area, and you've got more businesses you could pick up. And so
That's
that's
great.
something that's going to help because people are looking to pick up business and they don't want to pay a third party for business. They want
Now,
to,
people are very dependent on social media too, and they think that just by having social media, it's going to change their business. And it's a real combination of everything. As you know, Michael, I'm a relationship builder. And like we were saying, like I belong to the chambers and all these organizations. And because of the relationships I built from attending those events live, I get a lot of catering referrals and business, not necessarily from the person I know, but from someone they send my way.
yeah, and that's very important. So
Yeah. Referrals are everything.
for sure. Well, if you're doing a good job, you're going to get referrals. And if you're doing a
Absolutely.
bad job, you're not, and that's telling you something. Go focus on the quality and the execution and what have you. So you go out, you see these people, you bring coupons, you bring samples. What next?
When I meet people, I always do a follow-up email. Within 48 hours of meeting them, I do an introductory letter. I say, "Hi, so great to meet you at," and I try to name the event so they put a face with the name. I offer them a discount coupon for catering, invite them for lunch. If I think that they actually order catering, then I'll try to set up a one-to-one with them at the restaurant so they can have my food for free.
Yeah, I used to
And
bring a lot of people in. It's really nice. You have some one-on-one time and they get to sample everything.
I
And
invite people to lunch all the time. It's great.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anytime you wanna come.
Uh,
Anyway,
I appreciate that. I might take you up on that when I'm back in
okay.
Nashville. So you follow up with them and send an email. What percentage?
Then they're in my CRM.
Yep,
So I send the email first, and then I take the business cards and I enter them all to CRM, and then about every 6 to 8 weeks, I do, like, an email thing through the CRM
a
and
bulk
remind
email,
them.
a bulk
Right.
email. Yep.
And then I do reports to find out who hasn't ordered in a while, and I follow up with them. And so it's just staying in touch with people and staying relevant. That's really the key.
I would
Keep
agree.
going to the events.
You know, um, I think it was pie in the. Have you ever eaten a pie in the sky pizza? They used to be in
It's
Nashville.
not around anymore, but I remember them. Yeah.
They had some. I think it was artichoke and red pepper pizza. I love. The guy was in the music business, super nice guy, and he had a catering sales rep. And I met with her about our software years and years ago. She goes, "Yeah, my boyfriend's in sales, and he taught me something very important. The fortune is in the follow up."
Yeah.
And
True.
so often people get those orders, they don't follow up. Hey, you hadn't ordered from a while. Hey, I brought you a free lunch 3 weeks ago. What's going on? You got to follow up, follow up, follow up, and stay in front of people because you never know when somebody's going to want. I mean, I've had people who've held on to my marketing material for years and then all of a sudden they remember me and they come back. But you're not going to get that if you don't stay in front of them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
phenomenal. tips. And now with AI and some things we want to build down the road is the ability to not only figure out, okay, on a high level, you say, hey, if somebody hadn't ordered in 45 days, I'm going to reach them. Wouldn't it be nice to know who needs to be reached out when based on how often they order? And AI is going to be able to do that for you and say, okay, Michael orders once a week. Haven't seen him in 3 weeks. Well, I don't need to wait 45 days. He could be off the planet. I need to reach out after 2 or 3 weeks because he hasn't ordered.
Right.
His cadence is slot. So I think AI is short term, whether Elon Musk is right and nobody's going to have to work again, or robots are going to take over the whole world. I don't know. The Jetsons, I don't know. But I can tell you short term, the software and the businesses that adapt AI to make better making, they're the ones that are going to have an unfair advantage in the
Yeah.
marketplace.
It scares me a little bit. AI, the whole thing is a little bit.
Yeah,
Did you write that or did AI write that?
probably a combination. It
I
is.
haven't really used it. I've been trying not to, but gonna have no choice after a while.
I tell you one thing, I don't even use Google. The only time I use Google now is if I need to look up something like on Google Maps or places.
Mhm.
But I use ChatGPT. I went to the doctor last week for my annual checkup, and I took all my blood, all the test results. I
Mhm.
copied them, put them in a document, uploaded ChatGPT, and I said, "Hey, you're one of the top concierge doctors for men, blah 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 blah. I want you to analyze these test results and tell me." And literally, I got a better report than my doctor would have given me.
Okay.
That's how that's how
Yeah.
that's how good it is because it takes everything and blends it together, and you're getting like the best physician on the planet. I mean, I'm not going to go see a Dr. GPT today. One day there might be a device you hook yourself up, but to have it take all your test results and next year you can say, here's my test results. Am I doing better or am I worse? It's crazy what's out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. We use it for everything. Okay, so we're getting towards the end of our time together. Any other tips for building a catering sales program that you want to share with us?
You need to also make sure that you call every client the day after their order and make sure that everything was great and ask for feedback. And if you get a voice message, leave a message saying, I would like feedback, good or bad. It would really help us. And try a second time if you don't hear from them because the customers really appreciate that attention. It's really, I think that that has been my main source of success is that I always follow through with my clients, stay in touch with my clients, and make sure that they're happy from beginning to end.
I think that's very sound advice. I mean, this is just good common sense stuff.
It really is.
Why do you think a lot of people in our industry aren't proactive building their catering programs? Whether
I
it's
don't think they
them
realize
or
how important it is for their business. I don't think people realize that in today's day and age, with everybody not wanting to go out still, and everybody's doing this delivery stuff, that if you don't have a good catering business, you're not going to make it in the restaurant business. I mean, the overhead's just too high.
I would agree. I mean, I did a third of my business in catering and it obviously led me to helping other people with catering and then, starting the software business. I could not imagine a restaurant unless you're in a captive place like a arena or an airport where
Right. Or like
catering.
Assembly Hall in Nashville, where it's all tourists.
Right. I
They
mean,
don't have
where
time to wait.
where you have a set foot traffic and you're going to be swamped from open to close.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine not having catering.
I agree.
Well, Linda, as always, it's good to kibitz with you and catch up and appreciate your business and appreciate you sharing a lot of gems on here.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm a fan of your company, so I'm happy to be on here.
We're a fan of you. Thanks, Linda.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Barbecue Catering Smarts, where we bring you the best ideas, stories, and strategies from across the barbecue catering industry. We hope today's episode sparked new insights to help you refine your systems, elevate your customer experience, and grow your catering profits. For more episodes and insights, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us next time.